I call the honourable member Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I take a call on this very important...
Is it a split call, sorry?
Sorry, Mr Speaker, it is a split call.
It's a split call, thank you.
I have 5 minutes, which I will fill to the full. Mr Speaker, this is a very important matter, and we should not take it lightly. This Parliament should not take it lightly. And my starting point, Mr Speaker, is the principle of the rule of law. The rule of law starts with this House and its conduct and the laws that it passes. And when Parliament, with the power of the people, passes laws that bind and constrain the people, then we require all those with authority under the law to act properly and within the authority conferred by this Parliament. If there is one group of people for whom acting within their powers is absolutely crucial, is the sine qua non of their job, it is the police. Their job is to uphold the law, not any law, but our criminal code. Their job is to uphold the laws that affect our conduct and our behaviour. There is an underlying morality to our criminal code, and we expect our police to uphold it, but because we confer on them very coercive powers, the powers to arrest, and detain and deprive of liberty, we require them to act within their powers. And this House has the job of passing laws, but this House has another job too. We elect members of the executive, the ministers who are in charge of departments and agents of the Crown. The Parliament, having voted funding, voted money, requires the executive to do its job to ensure that money is, having been appropriated, is used for the purposes for which it is appropriated, but also that those who act under their executive delegation do so within the powers and the authority conferred by this Parliament, which itself acts in the name of the people of New Zealand. And so when we find, not for a first time, but for a second time, that those in whom we charge the most serious powers, powers that can constrain the liberty of the individual, that there are some who have been acting without the appropriate authority and power required by this Parliament, then we should sit up, take notice and act with an appropriate level of sobriety. And, Mr Speaker, it's for that reason that it does pay for this House to take some time, to pay some attention to it and to give it scrutiny. This is a mistake that has happened. And I don't accept those who say that the police officers themselves should be somehow held responsible because they should know the law. I don't accept that. They are reliant upon their superiors exercising their powers and authorities appropriately, and that has not happened. And it is not just a matter of 63 constables not having been sworn in properly, but everything they have done in the execution of their duty without this bill would be invalid. And that goes far and wide. That is not just arresting people. It's not just intervening in domestic disputes. It is everything they have done. And had anybody known about it, and had there been some resistance, had those constables been assaulted in the course of their duty, because that is a common occurrence, unfortunately, with our police force, and had that then gone before the court, then the police officers themselves would have been left with no protection at all. I take my hat off to this minister for bringing this back to the House, but the question must go really to what her predecessor was or was not doing. How is it that the mistake could be made once, but now it has been made a second time? And that is where we can talk about the police and we can pass this bill and shore up their authority and validate those actions. That's the sensible thing to do. But there must be some accountability. And it is the minister who has failed to act. It is the minister who provides oversight. It's the minister who ought to be asking the questions. And having made the mistake once, I would have thought any self-respecting police minister would have then continued to ask what has happened. Has the law been complied with? And when that police minister then becomes a Minister of Justice, a senior minister, and sometime heir apparent to the throne of the National Party, that failure runs even deeper. So, Mr Speaker, we support the bill, but let's not deny that this is a very serious situation.
I call Scott Simpson.
Mr Speaker,